Hello, it's Jesse here, and welcome back to Jesse's Vintage Garage. And we're getting ready to work on the Trident some more here, putting the primary assembly all together. So in the last video you saw, we worked on putting the final drive front sprocket on and all that fun stuff, and the new chain. So now we're ready for the next part, putting on this cover for sure, and going from there with the clutch and assembly. So right now we got this stuff laid out here, and the parts kind of what we need to do.
And we got to put a seal in the nut. That seal is for the pull rod. This seal is, and it screws on here. And to protect that, we have a seal protector that goes on. This will slide into the nut first, and then you'll turn it on. It's kind of okay. Then we turn it on until the seal goes past all the threads, and then once it's past all the threads, then you can pull the seal protector out. This is a service tool. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to put an X-ring down in here, right in this reduced area.
Right. So a couple of videos back when we started talking about the clutch, we talked about that, but we'll explain it again.
And what happens is this X-ring is going to go down inside of here. It's a tight fit, and it's going to squeeze tight. And what that's going to do, it's going to keep oil from migrating down through these splines, leaking out here. When I took this all apart, there was just trails everywhere of oil, and it was all coated inside of here, and I'm sure it was leaking. And I think at one time this came loose. So we're going to put an X-ring in there, and we're going to tighten that down.
This is like an upgrade. It was discovered years later that there was actually because of that problem, because this is not in any sort of parts book showing you put that in there. Just pointing that out.
Some people used to put a bead of silicone all around here and in there or wherever, and then push it down in there and hope that the silicone seals all the way around. And I don't have much luck with silicone staying in place with oil. It just seems like it always works out and comes loose and leaks, and I'm not a fond person of silicone. So anyway, I'm using an X-ray. And now there is a Triumph O-ring that works here too. I can't think of I should probably did some homework and found out. But there is a Triumph O-ring that's the same dimensions as this. The only difference between an O-ring and an X-ring is with an X-ring you got 8. It's like 8 O-rings all in one. You got 2 on the inside, 2 on each outside, and 2 across the top. So when you seal it, it's going to be way better than just an O-ring. So I don't think this is ever going to give trouble. Okay, yeah. So we already got this seal in. We got to put a seal here yet. And then after we get this seal in, we got to push this seal in. And when we get the seals in, I got to put the O-ring around here for around the oil pump. And after we get that, we're ready to go start putting it together. So it's not fit, but it's
it went on with just pressing it, I guess.
Yeah. It looks like it's equal all the way. So, yeah. Okay. It's a little proud everywhere, but it don't go any further. And there's an oil hole right here, and I think there's probably a ridge for it so that oil can fill up and go in there.
Yeah.
Now when we put this together, I'm going to grease these seals so that when everything goes on it, it doesn't hurt the seals. So the next thing we're going to do.
All right. Applying some grease there for the O-ring.
Yep. And the O-ring will squeeze the grease out, and then I'll wipe it. There we go. Okay, so now I'm going to put this O-ring in there. And plus that will allow the O-ring not to be dry in there. So if we turn it or move it a little,
I don't rip or bind or
it won't
cut.
rip or bind, it'll move. And it will lube. And it'll do everything we want it to do. There we go. It's all oiled, greased, all in one. So there we go. Okay. We are. And we're gonna put a little grease on this seal. I'm gonna put the high temperature grease on there. I don't want it melting out. In there, I'm not worried about that. That's inside the primary.
Oh.
This, I'm going to put a little grease here because the seal's going to go on it. The only lube this is ever going to get is the lube I'm giving it right now. If I put it in dry, it's going to be dry forever. No, we don't want to kill it. Because it could squeeze out when I push it in and then it'll run out, and I don't want that either.
Right, because that's the clutch
Yep,
area.
that is the clutch area. Yep. So we gotta be careful about that. Okay. Seeing as how I'm here with this grease, I'll just use it. Don't matter what kind of grease you use. I could use oil here too. Like, grease has a tendency to hold on and stay slippery better than oil. There we go. I got it all coated. Now the thing about putting more grease here is, as I push that gear in, it's going to push the grease inward, which is fine. I don't care if it gets on my final drive sprocket and the chain. That will not hurt anything. It might drip on the floor, but I don't care. It'll wipe up. So there we go. We got the. Now we're going to give just a hint of a little on the face too, because see, this face is what it comes in contact with first. Now what I didn't mention is that the garter that's on a seal, you always face the garter to the oil. Now in this case, this is dry. So we want the garter to the inside where the clutch is, because it's going to keep whatever's in here either dry or wet. In this case, it's dry. Out there on the other side, there'll be water, possibly dirt, and all this other stuff. And the garter side is the side that stays dry. So this will keep this clean. Now in this particular case, see, this is the other side of this. The clutch sits here, so the garter faces the bearing because oil is in here.
Right.
So
Where the
we want,
primary all is at.
yep, this is the primary. So we want, oil's going to be in here. So we want this side dry, so garter in, and that's what this is.
And then, yeah, the non-garter side is to this side.
Yes, and
the
it's
plate.
out.
All right.
So we're ready to get some gaskets and start.
Yeah, we're gonna put the install the O-ring on the clutch for right now, and
Yeah, because this is where it's going to go. I got to stretch it pretty good to get it over here. There we go.
just make sure
It doesn't twist.
and then yeah, and then snug against the shaft part.
Yep. And it doesn't cut. So make sure it's not cut.
All right. Guess we're ready to go put this component on, and then we'll be ready to start going from there on out.
I'll put just a touch of blue Loctite on here because I don't want the screws to work themselves out. They were, I believe they were Loctited when I had to wire brush them clean. So they were really tight. So I'm thinking that that's what's going back in here is blue.
It won't hurt nothing.
Nope.
You tighten them into aluminum anyway with the steel screw, and we do want to get them out someday if we have to.
It'll come out.
Help.
Okay. Now, we're going to put this in here. Got to be careful not to hurt the seal. Oh, there you go. Touching it already. There it is. Even here. Like that. I got that one started. I want to get it closer. Not tight, just
Lose some of the jiggle.
yeah, just one at a time here. I didn't.
There isn't really a
I
torque
didn't
spec.
run anything into them screws.
Right, there isn't really a torque spec on these because, well, they are a posi drive screw, and they don't really have a torque spec on that because it's kind of hard to get an actual tool on it and torque it. With all the posi drive screws we got, we're going to probably get a posi drive set, but right now I think that this nice Phillips here fits them well, and we're going to use that.
Yeah, number 3.
Here we are. We're ready to put the hub on, I believe, and then we can move on to the next step there.
Carefully. Keyway is at top. There it goes. Okay, now we're going to use some red Loctite on this.
On the nut that goes on there.
Yep.
This is 80 foot-pounds.
80 foot-pounds. And we
torque
got to
spec
hook up
is.
the brake.
Oh yeah, that's all unhooked right now. Alright, we'll do that in a second.
sure it gets good coverage. I want this good and tight. No, this isn't. This isn't 80. This is 60 foot-pounds.
Oh, okay.
The clutch one is 80. This is 60.
Yeah, 60 foot-pounds.
There we go, 60.
Yep. Set for 60.
Okay.
All right, I'll break down.
Push hard.
Oh yeah, I am, I guess. Not hard enough. Maybe I need to adjust the brakes.
You need to step on it.
Okay.
Step hard. Step harder. There we got it. I just think that's not 80.
Yeah, I thought maybe you needed to adjust the brakes more, but we got it. All right, so we gotta get this out of the way.
Yeah.
After getting this all assembled, we're gonna check something here.
We put the dial indicator back on here because I wanted to make sure that this hub seated onto the spline, or onto, not the spline, but the taper square, so it doesn't do this, because if it does this, that's going to put wear on these teeth on the clutch. So we need good squareness when it's tight there too. So this should be, you know, pretty darn straight. And
yeah, it's not moving.
we're less than a thousandths, and that could be rust or anything on there that causes that little bit of a movement. So we're square. So we're good. So now I'm not worried about this anymore.
Putting the clutch on, we gotta make sure we put the pull rod in. So
when I first got the bike, I bought a new pull rod like the one that was broke. This is a factory pull rod, and this is how they designed those. These were made so that this part here goes down into the hub of the bearing and rides. It's a nice idea.
But the bearing was wrong design.
But yeah, but what they say, I read a lot about these, and then I bought another clutch assembly off of eBay because, well, this one was, I thought, kind of messed up or something. So I found out later it wasn't. It was a lot better than the one I bought. Probably why they sold it. Anyway, but it came with some nice stuff. It came with a real nice pull rod. But in the meantime, before I bought the other clutch, I read about these self-centering pull rods, and I bought a new one. And this one has an Allen wrench adjuster in the center, which I think is kind of nice. And it's all one piece. Now, some of these earlier ones are two-piece, and I read somewhere in there that some of these have failed. I don't know if the head pops off or what happens to them, but they fail. Now, I don't know if this one looks like it's had some age to it. I can't hardly imagine it failing, but I don't know why it would fail. And the only reason I went with one of these self-centering ones is because I was very, 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 very disappointed in this one. And I'm going to, hopefully I can show you this. But as you spin this, I don't know, can you see this? This head is crooked. It goes up, it wobbles around. Yeah, just do it like this. See it wobble?
Yeah, kinda. I can kinda see it. I don't know if you guys can, but
what it does is does this. And when I was doing the paper test with this one, I could never get it to release other than like almost to 30. And there'd always be two papers that wouldn't release. And if I then later I found out that if I turned the rod, it was two different papers. And so that's when I took this out and noticed that the dang thing is wobbly. Maybe I can see it this way. Maybe we can see it this way if I spin it.
Oh yeah, see it better this way. Okay.
And it's a lot. It's like, it's wobbly like almost 15 thousandths. So, big waste of money. So, I could have used this free one, but I already bought this one. And this is brand new, and it's all one piece, and it comes with really good references. People really talk big about it. And the best thing about these is that when they're loose, like when you got the free play in there, this can be wherever it wants to be, and as soon as you put pressure on it, it self-centers and makes the... And if the bearing ever fails, if the bearing fails, this gets stuck in the center of the bearing, and that's what breaks these off. The worst thing can happen here is it'll put a groove in this because the bearing's locked up. And it won't break, they say. So I'm hoping that I'm never going to have another bearing lock up, because this is a linear pull bearing, angular. So, but now we're going to put this in, and we're going to try and make sure that, if you remember earlier, I put a little taste of grease on this brand new clutch, and there is just very little in there.
The splines.
And there's, on the splines, and there's very little on this. So now with the pull rod in here, we're gonna put this in here. If I can get it to line up, it fits pretty darn good. Okay.
All right.
So right now it sounds like it leaks. Well, it won't make that noise once we get the rest of it in.
Right. Okay. Well.
Hopefully it don't anyway. If it does, I guess I got to take it back apart, and maybe this is, I don't know.
Well, the next part,
tight.
we put the gasket on and we put the next cover on, right?
Yep.
Yep. All right. Well, here we go.
I'm gonna go get.
Now, right now we're preparing this gasket to get placed on the components. We're putting 510 on it for somewhat of a sealant.
Loctite 510.
Yeah, and then
It's a high temperature aerobic, however you say that. It works really good. The nice thing about this stuff, it seals really well. And if you go to take the gasket off sometime, you can peel it off instead of having to scrape it off. But in the meantime, it seals and really seals good, because it hardens with absence of air.
Yep.
So
this gasket, gasket's a universal gasket. It's actually for the 74 and the 75 that has you punch this piece out right here, and it has the provision for the starter.
For the shifter.
Oh, the shifter.
Yeah, the gear shifter for the left side.
Oh, I thought that was the...
No.
Okay.
No, that's for the gear shifter. Because see, they moved the gear shifter from the right to the left.
In 75.
In 75. Of course, they added a starter too.
Yeah, I guess it's not on anything to do with that. So I guess it's the shifter shaft that goes there.
Shifter shaft, yes.
And then our cover has provision for it as well, but it's not finished machined.
They were getting ready.
Yeah, I guess
This
so.
is a later bike, and so because of that, there's lots of evidence that they were getting ready for T160 on this T150. I would imagine earlier ones don't. I don't think I need to go everywhere. And the nice thing about this gasket material, this stuff here, it will only seal where there's compression and absence of air. Anything that's left, like if I put it out here, anything that gets up against oil or anything, oil will wash it off and it dilutes and goes away. So it doesn't harden and peel off and act like silicone does, or like some other gasket materials where...
Or other sealants.
Other sealants where, yeah, it gets... clogs up oil pumps and all kinds of stuff like that. this stuff will not do that.
And there's different ways. The book says just apply a thin,
Just grease it.
yeah, thin coating of grease.
And I could have greased it.
And it would have probably worked well too, but it just kind of depends on what you want to use.
And I really don't have to do this part over here because there's no oil over here. But I'm going to do it there because I don't want the gasket to stick later. If I have to pull this back apart sometime, I want it to just pop off, and I want to peel the gasket and start with a fresh one.
And I'd have to
This will do that.
Clean it and spend
Scrape
hours
it.
and scraping and try not to damage the aluminum when you scrape. And
Right, exactly. All the above. That's ugly. All I'm trying to do is just wet this. Of course, I waste some doing it because there ain't no way around it. And you don't have to have a lot on it. It's just a taste. I'm getting more in the holes than I am in the... If I happen to tear this gasket, we're all done because I don't have another one. I'm only going to do this side, and then later I'll do the other side after I get it on.
yep.
Okay, take it over there. Here we go. Up on that. Gotta get this up on that lip. There we go. See, there's a lip there.
Oh yeah, yep.
Gotta get it on that lip. And I don't want to tear it. Is there a lip there too?
No, I don't think so. Not
Okay,
there.
there isn't. Okay, it's just down here.
Yeah, it was flat on there.
Okay, so there it goes. Stay on there. There. Now we're gonna give it a new coat.
The other part about using that stuff, it helps somewhat help it stick to the.
Yeah, when we put the next cover on.
Yep. All right, we'll get this all ready, and then we'll get ready to put the cover on.
Okay, here we go. Be careful there. Be careful with that O-ring.
The oil pump now.
Yeah. Looks like it went.
All right, now put the screws in and tighten it down.
Yep.
All right, we got all the screws in. We're gonna torque these down to 80 inch-pounds. Is that all?
Oh, there it is.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, it's a
I
hidden
knew
one.
there was another one.
That's all the Allen ones, right?
We're going to go over them all again. Okay.
And then we have a bolt out here, a 5/16 bolt, isn't it?
Yeah, here
And
here.
right here.
And we got these two that we got to stick back in here before we forget. Straight bolted screws.
And we had a
They
Phillips.
came off because they did not let the cover come off.
We had a posi drive one back here. We got to put in, tighten up, and then the one coming from the other side across to here yet. So
This fits this or not? Let's find a screwdriver that fits it first. That does not fit it.
yeah, we don't mess them up.
This does fit it. Okay, so we will use this then. We don't want to over tighten these. There we go.
Okay.
There we go.
And you got the posi drive one down here tight too?
I think I did this already. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that one there.
There. And we got this long one that goes in on the other side. It goes through the breather cover.
There we are.
Okay.
Then we just got to do these 5/16 bolts, 3 bolts. All right, we're tightening up some of
Hold
these
this.
bolts and stuff.
No, that. The wrench on there. Got it? I gotta hold this.
Yeah, I think I got it. Yeah. We got a spacer in there and it's bolt set up, and there we go. And then we got
Now
the
we
one
gotta
down
get
here
the
to
one
do.
down there. Okay, try and get it on there. It's really greasy under there.
No, whatever.
It's way up in there.
Wow. Yeah. I don't feel it moving around anywhere.
Okay.
I didn't.
I'll get it.
I didn't feel it up in there, so.
I got it on there. Ready? Okay. Go ahead. Is it on it?
Yeah. We gotta tighten this one up yet.
Yep. Those will be easy.
Yep. Yeah, here we go. We're gonna, now we got that one tight and this one tight. We're ready to do this one and this one in here. And these were different lengths. I didn't mention that earlier, but this one is
longer.
a little bit longer and this one's a little bit shorter. Yeah, got you a good ratchet there.
Where the hell did it go?
What? Okay, here we go. Now we're prepared.
get this in close.
Yeah.
And then
Right.
we'll torque it. Pretty long-winded. There it is.
All right. Here's the wrench. Yeah, 15 foot-pounds, right?
Yep. That's where I'm putting it to.
Okay, here we are. Now we're ready for some more stuff to go together.
And now I got to put the piece right in through here. There's a gasket that goes here and the tube, and then we're ready to put the primary chain and the Cush drive all in one. It's got to go together.
All right, we're getting ready to put the gear on the oil pump.
I lined the flat up. I turned the pump till I get the flat on the pump up where I can see it. I'm going to put the idler on. See, this little keeper has got a flat on it. I have to have this to where it fits like that. So like that.
And our keeper.
And our keeper goes onto there.
So I dug through this this manual here, and I can't find it. Usually, when we're looking in these manuals, they have all the torque specs and everything in the front of the chapter that it's in. It's oil pumps in chapter 4 in this manual here, and it doesn't talk about any of the torques on that nut or
Well, it's
for what we could find.
It's a 5/16. It's a 5/16, or I think it's a half wrench fitted. Yeah, so it's 5/16. So we'll just take for granted that a 5/16 takes the same torque as what some of these other ones are. And I am going to use some blue Loctite on it, because of course I don't want it to come loose. But I got to brake clean this first, because of course we don't want it to come loose. Everything else is tight, and I think it was Loctited originally, because it was really tight.
I don't know. You want to put 15 or more on it or not? 15? 15 for sure? Or?
No. It's going into a taper. It'll be fine. Oh yeah? Maybe. I don't know. It feels pretty tight. I don't want to break it.
Right. Then we gotta fold the.
Yeah, we gotta bend it.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say we gotta fold that little tab up on it. That'll lock it, keep it from coming loose.
Well, we're not done yet. There's two. Well, we only need to bend one. Yeah. There.
We got it.
Yep. It ain't never gonna come loose. And it's done.
Okay.
Okay. So now we gotta have this paper gasket. And we can't forget that, because these holes go through into this case. And this gasket has got to be there. Like this. I don't know which way it needs to be. I'll find that out in a second. It goes this way.
Nope. Well, it fits better that way anyway.
Yep. Now,
We gotta do some stuff on it to keep it in place.
yeah, probably. And we want to put some sealer on these threads, because we don't want it to leak.
Yeah, because he's got through into the clutch area, right?
Yep. I don't want to kill it because I don't want it also to go inside.
Pour out all over?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I'll do is I'll run this in and out here a little bit. This one goes in here. These two are the cover screws.
Oh yeah, the outside cover screws.
Yes. Now what's going to happen here is it's going to go like that. And we got to put this up in here. Somewhere in here there should be a hole. Here it is. And this will hopefully hold this in place when I put this on. To ensure that that does that,
It's a primary chain oiler.
sure that it does that. These are the screws that will go through there. That way, this gets tightened up into there. And once this is tight, it'll hold it there. We could have put some 510 on there, I guess. You think we should?
Well, to help hold it in place, but...
Well, this is going to hold it in place.
Oh, well then we should be good, because...
I can put some 510 on the outside.
Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah, I think I will. Because we put 510 on here, we're going to put 510 here. Why wouldn't we put it there?
That part of it is really not submerged anyway, is it?
Yeah, this is all going to be...
Well, it's all going to be saturated, but I mean, it isn't going to be like oil level this high.
No, it's not going to be that high, no.
So we really have to make sure that that's sealed off. You know what I mean?
This will hold here.
There we go. We got some 510 on there. We're gonna mount this gasket on.
Do this again without breaking it.
Yeah, it's like pretty hard.
Yeah, it's pretty old.
And it's fine as long as it doesn't like crack or whatever. We didn't see anything wrong with it, so.
Oh, I'm being gentle with it, trust me. I'm going to put a screw in here. Put a screw in this one.
Yeah, just to hold it while you go to tighten that bolt down.
Yeah, I want it to be in place, see. I guess I could have used two shorter screws. I don't know if I can. I might need to use a shorter screw there. This hole is not through. This hole is a bottom screw. It doesn't go anywhere. It's blind. get on it. That lines up. Looks pretty good. Okay.
There we go.
Tighten that and squeeze that over. That gasket should be stuck.
I had to push the top down a little bit, but it should be good now.
What?
Oh, the top part of the gasket was not stuck onto the cover or whatever. I just pushed it onto it. Oh yeah, you gotta lock that. Forgot about that. Or didn't think I saw it. Didn't lock and tab.
Yeah, locking tab. There.
All right, I think we're about ready to put the chain assembly on with the Cush drive.
Yep, we gotta take these back off gently.
All right, let's get ready for the next part.
Whenever you take one of these Tridents apart, some engines had a shim here, some didn't. It's all about chain alignment. This one had a shim. Whatever the shim is, always put it back. The only time that this shim would ever have to be changed is if this cover or the outer cover gets replaced for whatever reason. And so, now the next thing I'm going to do is I want to gently turn this over until I get my mark. There it is,
Our
isn't
alignment
it?
marks that we made.
Isn't this it?
Yeah, that's it. That's the black mark we made.
Has that got a dot in it? Yeah, it does. There it is. It's got a dot right there. Okay, so it's straight up. And that straight up has got to be, there's a brass bushing here. I want to oil this before we put this in. Just a little. Okay, I'm going to put a little assembly lube on this. Just a little. Just a taste.
Yeah, the assembly lube is a little bit thicker and
Well, and it'll stay on here and won't run dry. See, like that.
and then when oil starts splashing around, it won't be a dry start
Yes, exactly.
for who knows how long.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I don't think there's a left or a right,
Or in or out.
in or an out. Or one side's fixed better than the other. No, just the way it is. Come on now. Just a taste. Here, let's kill it. Because this will really get splashed up, but there'll be a certain amount of time before there will be any there. And I want to put a little grease in here because you remember there's an X-ring in there, and I don't want this edge to cut it. So,
Right.
rest of them have it.
All right, so there's our mark on top, and we got the mark on top on here, and we're gonna slide this all together now.
Okay, let's see here. Yep, there it is.
All right, now we're ready to torque this, or put the nut on here, and yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Now we got to put the nut in it. We got to pull that X-ring in.
Oh,
So
yeah.
now we got to put the seal in the nut.
Oh yeah, that piece.
And we got to put the seal protector on. The seal in. Just gonna push this all the way. I don't know if it's in all the way or not. Don't look like it. Don't look like it goes all the way in. But it does. That's it.
Okay.
So
Okay, we're getting the seal lubed up right now so we can put the seal saver piece in.
yeah, because seal saver is going to be so it's going to go through there. This has got to go on there. Now we can slide the nut in. Oops, we can't do this yet. Can't forget the washer.
Yeah.
I got the cart ahead of the horse. Okay.
Here we are.
Almost.
We gotta torque that down now. Or tighten it for sure.
We're going to have to pull it past the X-ring, remember?
Oh yeah.
It'll pop, it'll snap when it goes in. There it goes, it's tight. So we went past it. It's past, it's in the deal, so.
Right.
Now we got to torque this to 80 foot-pounds. Now I'm going to have a deep well for that. And it is, what size did I say that was? It's not that size.
Okay. This other one?
I think it's this size. Yep. 15/16.
Alright, so after getting the seal in there and stuff and lubing it up, we're gonna red Loctite this shaft.
This nut. We don't never want this to come loose. Oops. Down in there. Didn't want that to happen. I don't want to waste. I don't want to make a mess out of it.
Alright.
Okay.
So we got the seal saver on and we're gonna run this in there now.
Okay. We got the brake hooked up.
Yeah, we got the brake hooked up, so I'm gonna be able to
In fifth gear.
I'll make it easier for holding it down anyway. We gotta tighten it up.
Pull seal saver off.
So yeah, this gets torqued to 80 foot-pounds with the 15/16 socket.
Yep.
All right.
Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Nice and tight.
There we are. Now we're able to.
Oh, wait a minute. That was 80.
Oh, since we'll do an increments then.
Yeah.
That was what, 60 or something?
60.
Yeah, from last setting.
I thought it tightened awful easy.
Yeah, thought that too, but I thought maybe it was that easy.
Okay.
Sorry.
Now we get it. Ready?
Yeah.
It's tight.
All right, so we'll just back this off now and get it out of our way for the next part.
Yeah.
All right, we got locked on. The nut's got a flat side and it's got a rounded edge. We're gonna make sure the flat side goes in, of course.
I don't know what size this is. Whoops. I got a little carried away there. Do we have the right socket for this?
No. Big one. Bigger than that one, I think.
Okay,
Okay.
I gotta go do some searching.
Alright, so we got the socket. What size was that?
Inch and an eighth.
Yeah, we're ready to go now. I gotta hold the brake down again. Yeah. Maybe I'm in a bad spot for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ready?
Yeah. There it goes. Alright.
Okay.
What did we torque that to?
70.
70. Okay. Alright, now we can
Now we can bend this over to it. It's already out here a little bit.
yeah, we just gotta get a spot to lock it. That's all we needed.
Bent over and
There we go. We got the tab bent over right there, and now we're ready for some more stuff. We're gonna have to drop this down, I think.
yep.
Now.
I know we're ready for the
Outer primary.
outer primary. Set the primary chain tension, and then set up the
clutch.
clutch
release.
pull.
Yep.
Yep.
Right, we're gonna install the gasket now.
Hopefully.
We used 510 on this as well. Just thought I'd say that. There we go.
Get all the screws to line up. This one ain't. There that one is. Okay. They look like they're all lined up now.
All right, can I cover? Oh, it's over there. Okay. Anyways, when we were taking this apart a while back, kind of set up a little cheat sheet here on where all the screws go, because they're all different lengths. So I drew the primary pretty much on here, and then, you know, where each screw was and the type of screw. So this is exactly laid out like this goes back on. So we got the gasket all ready to go. We're ready to put the primary cover on, but we got to put that bearing in here between the Cush drive here and this bearing right here. We got to put this bearing in between there.
It rides on this, and it rides on there, so that when you pull the clutch in, it rides on that. It's called a thrust bearing. And without it, when you pull the clutch in, without it, it'd be metal on metal on this stuff. So you can't have that. Okay, now we're ready for the cover here. So.
All right, then our alignment dowels or pins will help. Yeah, when it come out a little bit, didn't it?
It's supposed to be here. It was actually stuck in the cover. I'm glad it came out.
Oh.
Because it helps hold the gasket in place.
Yeah, really, huh? All right.
Okay, so here we go.
Here we are. Now we just got to put the screws in.
Rails line up.
Yeah, well, like I was just saying, our little template here. So we can start putting them in, I guess. Our center ones.
I'm not going to tighten any of them. I want this one.
Like that's this one.
Okay, I got that one to go. Which one is this one? This is the back one. This one goes here.
Well, I can feel they're going right into the threads. They're not like touching the gasket or anything.
Yeah, the gasket lined up pretty good.
And then the last one.
You're getting them all started, huh?
There you are. Worked out pretty slick, I guess. We knew that we wouldn't remember where the length and the different heads and stuff. We'd have to like reinvent the wheel, so it made sense to do what we did there. That and it probably took longer than we thought it was gonna to get to this back to this point.
I didn't know for sure we were going to get it done. Felt like we weren't.
Here we go.
Chain's supposed to have a 1/2 inch of slack. The chain adjuster is back completely off, so anything right now. Too bad they don't have an aluminum covered colored gasket.
Yeah. Oh well, I guess.
Yeah.
We'll wipe off the excess sauce or 510
Yep.
stuff. Because it'll start to.
It'll stay wet. That'll never harden.
Right, but we'll be able to tell it's actually sealing and coming through, and we wipe off the excess because he said it'll stay wet.
Yeah.
And won't get all like gooed up all over and look ugly. And we got, you were saying we have to check, we have to adjust this because it's backed off, and we got to put all
this stuff in.
And all that stuff in,
Yeah. I'll see the chain move when I touch it, see? So far it hasn't touched. I got to back the nut off some more. So it's not doing nothing yet.
Okay.
We're not going to worry about that right now. We will, the next step is we got to put the piece in here.
So we talked about this next part here. We didn't really show it on the clutch video before we got to the final drive sprocket in the last video, but Now we're going to actually show the bearing and stuff and how we modified this and made it work. And so here we go. Alright, so in the other video with the clutch, we were talking about the special bearing, of course. And then he was talking about the notch that he moved at 15 degrees.
I got all this stuff with that other clutch when I bought it, so I had spare parts. But I modified my original, and I moved it over 12 degrees.
Oh, 12 degrees?
Okay. Yeah, and I looked it up. It's 12 degrees. And originally, this had a bearing just like this one in it. And this is a radial bearing, not a linear or a angle thrust or whatever. This bearing comes with a special nut, and it comes with a race that gets pressed into here. Well, actually, yeah, you press this race into this nut, and it comes with this bearing that's got the balls on the sides, and there's a ring that gets pressed in, and then the center race gets pushed in, so that when this is all put together, I don't want to drop these balls out of here. So when you put this all together, it never comes in contact with this. It just spins real good. So it's just a better way than this. This was originally what they did is the thing that's bad about these is when you push, this is the original nut, and you get this in there and you tighten it up onto there. When you pull the clutch in and it starts lifting like this to raise the clutch, this comes into contact here and drags on this and locks it up solid. So you have to turn everything together. This one always constantly spins, and it turns and works real easy, so you have an easier clutch. So this is way better. So
all right, we're gonna put this together.
we're gonna put this all
yeah,
together.
and then the 12 degrees, of course, we talked about that before, where it sets up the ball out of the big hole and sets it up on the ramp first, so it starts working right away instead of having to overcome a hill and then start working, right?
Right. Or a dead spot, where you have to move your lever before it starts to do anything.
And all of a sudden it does.
And then you're out of, remember, you only got 30 thousandths of movement anyway, so, or if you're lucky, or 25, and if it releases at 25, it better be lifting right away. And now, I am going to lube this bearing because I don't want to put it in dry, and I don't know how long it'll be before oil gets flushed out there after it gets running, so I'm going to put some of this kind of oil on it, and this will stick with it for a long time, and it'll wash away. This is assembly lube. It's really good oil. This race just lays into this. Give this all a good taste, and then eventually it'll start to work once it gets to working. So here we go. Now you got a pin right here. This is already torqued, so we don't have to worry about this no more. So we're going to push this in. And remember, I rotated it this way, so this is the new hole. It's kind of it's not really a press fit, but it's just a
interference fit.
Yeah, or something like that. That's nice. Cable's got this nice sleeve on it.
Yeah, we talked about that. How that's what the sleeve looks like, longer, and
it goes right down in there, and it don't move around at all. Now I gotta hook this. I gotta hook this into this. Get that into there. Now I'm gonna get this all the way through here. Yeah, goes all the way through here. And get that just like that. Now I'm going to hold that there.
Yeah.
Long enough to get this in here. Get that started. And my nice little Allen wrench out here. And I'm going to turn it and pull it in.
Yeah, you're pulling the pull rod out to it.
Yeah. There we go. Now I gotta have the lock nut, because we're gonna have to tighten it. Now this feels tight. They say you can go zero clearance, so that's pretty much zero clearance right there. But I got room, so I'm going to back it off just a little bit. And
That allows it to flow. It's good when you pull on it then, huh?
yeah.
Leaving it.
I don't want, the reason I'm doing that is I can tighten it back up with the handlebar if I have to. I don't want this to touch down here. It's got to come up off of that a little bit, see?
Okay.
If I tighten that too tight, it'll be bound up down there
On the stop.
on the stop. There's that. There's that tight. Now we spin free. This moves a little bit. Now I can set my play up at the handlebar. See, I got a lot of play up here, see? You gotta get that. Free clutch.
Oh, I think it's gonna work.
Free clutch.
All right. Then we that's all together. Now he's got to put the those pieces in it, right? The locks. These pieces.
But this
here.
moved up a lot, and I got this out a lot higher than what I used to, so I'm going to do this one more time. Something might not have been seated like it is now. But just out of curiosity, see, I just feel like I'm really loose. For some reason. Oh, yeah.
So you're feeling the pull rod actually touch that bearing
Yeah.
when you're bracking that out.
Right there is pull rods right there. Now I'm going to back it off just a little bit. That might be a little tight. There we go. There we go. Okay. This clutch adjuster was never way out there.
There we go.
Now we got to put these in. These things,
Like little springs.
yeah, they stabilize this. And go here and here. And you don't want it to come into contact with the nut, see? So you got to make sure that you got this up to where this can, because you got to remember that when this is running, this nut will actually be spinning when I pull in the clutch because it's not coming into contact with this no more. This will turn, but this, whatever the motor and the clutch is spinning, this nut will be spinning. Then when I let go, it'll free off, and it won't.
Right, so we don't want the springs to come in contact with the points on this nut. So I think we got
sure.
Yeah, we got it set. That's like you got it cleared.
Make sure we're there, and then I got to bend these up. That. And this. Just so it's on the, you know, it's past the edge there, see?
Yeah. Right. And we just gotta bend this up and
Bend
then
them over.
we're good.
Making sure it works good. Yeah. That one. And here's this one.
Right. All right, we're ready to put this cover on here. If you remember right, like when we found out we had a clutch problem, it was cracked. But this is a real original one.
Replacement.
A replacement. And then when we went to go get this at the Triumph place, it was like, which one? So it's like we didn't know there was 4 different ones.
There's this particular one that has 2 holes closer. He says that's different. I don't know what the deal. And well, I know. And then there's the T160 one where it's got a big divot right here because there's a kicker that, or I mean a shifter. Now you got me saying kicker. This would be bored through, and a shifter rod would be right here, and your shifter would be here. If this was a T160, and I think that's why you got these 2 closer holes here. But I don't know. And I'm not sure how the earlier ones were.
Yeah, so we got the right one and we're putting it on.
I had the part number and I told him what the part number was, and he gave me this one. So, and it fits. No. And I still did it wrong. It goes here like this. 2 closer holes. And then 2 further holes.
Yeah, all we have left is chain tension and putting some oil in.
Yep. I'm going to let this harden and dry before I oil it.
Right, so
That'll be at least, I'm going to leave it set for at least 24 hours. And we will revisit the chain tension then.
yeah, it'll be next year, but we'll give it some time. You won't miss it here. So.
Yep, there it is. God, it even matches pretty darn good.
Yeah. So. Anyway.
That's why I didn't want a brand new one, because I could have got a brand new one.
Or a billet one, or something.
Or a billet one, but then it was. I looked at it and it's real shiny, and well, then I'd have to repolish everything else, and it's like. And we got to put the peg back on. We got to adjust the brake, put the brake switch back on, because I didn't want to break it, because when you don't have the peg on there, this goes way up too high and it'll break the switch. So I took it off. Yeah. That's why these wires are hanging out.
All right, we'll come back to that here in a minute. So we're getting ready to do the chain tension and put some oil in here. But we got the foot peg mounted. We got new foot peg rubber installed, and we have the rear brake all set up, and the brake light switch put back on. We got it in gear, and we have the.
If you pull back on it, the run gets tight. If you go forward, it loosens up, and so all you want to do is take the play out and hold the wheel forward just a little bit. Okay, if you can hold the wheel forward a little bit.
Yeah.
Or step on the brake, whatever. Then what we got to do is we're going to slowly turn this up. I had it backed all the way out.
You're feeling for tension?
Yeah, I'm waiting for it to start moving. And well, it's supposed to move a half inch. And I think it's set just where it was. Yeah.
So when you have the half-inch tension, we just tighten that jam nut?
Yeah.
While holding the slotted screw.
Yep.
All right, cool.
That's it.
Yeah, we're ready to put oil in now.
Yep. I'm going to hold this screw so. If I can. It's a straight slot screw. That'd be a good split for an Allen.
Yeah. It'd make it easier.
You don't want it too tight. Because if you get it too tight, that just pulls pressure on the whole clutch shaft assembly, and it just puts undue wear on everything. So right now I got, and I can't feel it hit up here, hit on. I can't make it hit.
That's good. You don't want to chain slap on the case. So
I mean, if I first ride it and I accelerate and let off, and if I hear a clang or clunk, I'll know it's just a little too loose.
So according to the manual here, it talks about initial fill on the primary chain case, 355 cc, or 0.625 imperial pints. So he's filling the oil up right now in a thing, in a container. What the heck's that called? Just a beaker thing. And then it's getting a funnel poured in here. All right.
And we hope we don't have leakage.
Yeah. Is there a drain plug on this outer case at all?
It's already tight.
So yeah, we make sure that's tight. We'll be good there.
I think it's tight. I'll check it.
It'd probably be coming out already if it wasn't.
Well, it's in there, so at least it ain't gonna run out. Waiting for it to quit running. Yeah, I could probably just stop, but whatever.
What kind of oil did you put in here?
2050, same as what's in the motor. For right now, we're using GTX high zinc. Castor oil.
Alright, put the cap on, I guess.
Yeah. I got an actual plug for that.
Actual tool? Yeah, there's a special tool for those. We talked about in the Norton videos too, that's kind of the same deal. It's a little bit different.
Triumph ones are different.
Triumph ones are different because they're still dished. It's just that they're a different thickness.
It's a special thickness and special radius that it just fits. We make these. You can make it yourself if you want.
It keeps from using a screwdriver, which will end up damaging it.
So it don't get all beat up. Somebody else previously dinged this. It wasn't me.
Yeah. Right. Well, this pretty much wraps it up. We're gonna check that drain plug for sure, but hope you enjoyed everything on this, putting this primary and the clutch all assembly back together, and it's gonna be ready for the next steps we're gonna try to do here. But anyway, we got some more work to do this, but this kind of ends this chapter a little bit. So anyway, hope you enjoyed everything, and we'll see you again soon.